Hi, in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at Windows 11 running with TPM and Secure Boot on an Ubuntu virtual machine. You see, this is Windows 11. If I come up here, it's a virtual machine. So what I'm going to do is show you the performance. I'm going to go through all the steps setting this up from beginning to this point. So what I'm going to do here is open up browser, go to YouTube, and play your video full screen with audio and show you what the performance is like. So it's going to come up with this prompt in a second, so just give me a minute to dismiss the prompt. I'm in the EU and it always likes to click loads of times. Okay, so here we go, and let's put this video full screen. The video up, put it full screen, and I'll play it, and you'll see what the performance is like. Okay, so that's Newcastle equalising against Crystal Palace. And you can see the video's playing fine there. So you see this is all really snappy. And basically I've got everything working on this apart from the Windows subsystem for Linux. And basically what happens is when you install the Windows subsystem for Linux, because it's running in a virtual machine, it doesn't seem to like it. What happens is it will either crap out during the install, or will ask you to reboot. You'll reboot the VM and it won't work. So that's the only thing I haven't managed to get fixed. So what I'll do is actually go through all the steps to get this working. I've got Windows Terminal here. I've got choclately installed so I can install software. So yt-dlp-h. There we go. yt-dlp is installed using choclately on Windows. So everything works perfectly. Got the network working perfectly. I've actually got the network set up as a bridged network, which I'm going to show you how to do. I've also created the storage pool for the VM in my home directory. I'm going to take you through that. Installing the TPM, getting the secure boot set up. Let's say getting the networking working, getting the display full screen here. We've got 1080p. So what I'm going to do is come out of this. Actually, I'll just shut this down. Let me just go back full screen. I'll shut this machine down. And what I'll do is actually go through all the steps and create another VM from scratch. We'll just shut this down. And what I'm going to do is come across and go through all the steps that are needed. So first of all, what we need to do is actually check our hardware support. So if I come across here, let me just make the bigger. LSCPU. You can see here we've got KVM. What we're next going to check is if the kernel modules are loaded, and we'll do that with lsmod-grep KVM. So you can see here we've got KVM Intel listed here. So what you may need to do is actually boot into your BIOS on your computer and enable virtualization. So I'm running a Dell XPS 15, and on the Dell what you need to do is press F2 when it boots up and the Dell logo comes up, and that will take you to the BIOS screen. If you're running another computer, it may be F12. So it's going to depend on your computer about how the BIOS looks. Basically, go into the BIOS, and by default on the Dell XPS 15, virtualization was enabled. But if it isn't, enable it and save, and then reboot. So what we're then going to do is actually install libvirt and all the packages that we need. So I'm just going to have a glug of tea. So Packages that we need to install are qemu, qemu-kvm, libvirt daemon, libvirt client, bridge-utils, and Virt Manager. And obviously I've installed all these before, and I'll put a link to this document under the video so you can actually follow along. So that's the next step, is actually installing the packages. Now, after we've done that, this step may not be necessary. I found that my user was already added to the libvirt group on Ubuntu. I'm running Ubuntu 2004 here. So what we're doing here is we're adding our user to the libvirt and the kvm groups, and then we run this new group libvirt kvm command. So we run these three commands one after another. Then what we do is we enable libvirt, and then after we've done that, we need to reboot the computer. So we'd run sudo systemctl enable --now libvirt-d, and then we reboot the computer. So that's the first step, is actually getting virtualization enabled in your BIOS, installing the packages, and adding yourself to the group, and enabling libvirt. And once you've done that, as I said, we reboot the computer. And we're going to move on to the next stage, which is actually creating the bridge network. So let me pour some more tea here. What we actually need to do is identify the kind of network we're running, because on Ubuntu there's NetPlan and Network Manager. Now chances are you're going to be running the Network Manager. So first of all, what we need to do is run networkctl status. And do I need to run this as root? Okay. Okay, system network D is not running, or output will be incomplete. And what this message basically means is we're not running NetPlan, we're running Network Manager. So what I've got here is all the steps showing you whether you've got NetPlan or Network Manager on how you can create a bridge network. So I can actually skip to, so this is the information for NetPlan. Okay, so this is going to show the list of the current network connections. So I'm going to run nmcli con show. And as you can see here, I've actually got the bridge already created and the bridge slave. So this is what it's going to look like after you've set it up. So what we need to do is actually create the bridge. Okay, so as root, what we would do is run nmcli con add if name bro type bridge con name bro. So again, we'd run that as root. So basically we paste this command into the terminal, run it with sudo. So it'd be sudo like that. So sudo nmcli con add if name bro type bridge con -name bro. Okay, so that's the first step. And what you will see is it'll actually output this code here, connection bro, and a string of numbers successfully added. Once we've done that, what we need to do is add the slave. So what we need to do is actually show the name of our network connections. So my Ethernet connection is actually called ENXX0050B610E975. Nice and easy to remember. So do nmcli con show, and your output will look different from this because I've already created the bridge, but what we're looking for is the Ethernet and the device name here, and we to use that in the next step. So grab the Ethernet name, and what we're going to do is in this command down here, as you can see, I say replace this bit of code, which is the name of my adapter, with the name of your Ethernet connection, which you got from the previous step. So as root, we would run this command here: nm cli con add type bridge dash slave if name, and then the name of your Ethernet connection, master bro. And once you've done that, it's going to output this little bit of code here: connection bridge slave successfully added. And basically, when we now run nm cli con show, what you'll see is output similar to this. So you'll see a wired connection bridge and bridge slave. Okay, so we got that set up, and you can actually, if you're running on a remote machine, there's actually ways to bring this up. So there's chunk of code in here on how you can create a script to bring the bridge up remotely. But basically, what we need to now do is run these commands. So let me just locally. Okay. So what we need to do is bring the bridge up. So as root, what we run is these two commands: nm cli con down wired connection 1 quotes, and then nm cli con up bro. So let me just copy that, and okay, so a sudo nm cli con down wired connection 1. That's the first step, to take the connection down, and then the next step is bringing up the bridge. So sudo nm cli con up bro. That's going to bring the bridge up. Right, okay. And when we then run this command, nm cli con show, it's going to output this. So you're going to see bridge. The virtual bridge is by default. Virt Manager is going to create a NAT connection, like and that's going to be the vir bro. But this is the bridge and the bridge slave that we created now. So that's creating the bridge. And what we actually need to do is create a XML file with a bit of code in it, and we're going to run virsh, which is the command line interface to KVM, and qemu, and tell it about the bridge. So if I run virsh net list all, what you'll see is I've got two connections here. I've got the bridge, and I've got the default NAT well. And it's worth pointing out that I don't think you can bridge a Wi-Fi connection. You can only bridge an Ethernet connection. So just in case you tried and you're having problems, that would be the reason. So that's where we list the output, and by default it's just going to look like this: default active yes yes. So what we need to do is actually create a XML file that looks like this. Okay, and if I just come back here, it looks like this. So we create a bridge.xml file. There's network name bro forward mode equals bridge name equals bro, and then the closing network tag. So that's the bridge file that we create, and what we then have to do is use that file to define the new network. So let me just come to the desktop, cp git libvirt We find the file and copy it to the desktop. Bridge.kml. Okay. So we've got the bridge.kml file there. Yeah. And the command that we need to run is this. So we run virsh net-define, and we don't need that forward slash. We can just run. You can just run bridge like. We do need to run the. We do need to run it like that. So you do need to run it with the ./bridge.kml. So that's the command we run to basically let the virtual machines know about the bridge network that we created on the host. So it will then output a chunk of code that looks like this: network BRO defined from ./bridge.kml. What we need to do is we need to after it's been defined, we need to start it and configure it to auto start each time the system reboots. So the way we do that is by running virsh net-start BRO, and that's going to start the bridged network. And then after that, we run virsh net auto start BRO, and that will auto start it. And basically you should have output that looks like this: network BRO started, network BRO marked as auto started. And then we can list all the networks that virsh knows about with virsh net-list --all. And as you can see here, we've got the bridge and the default NAT adapter. So that's what the output's going to look like. And let me just scroll up and just close some of these. Okay. So we got that. You can manually specify to use the bridge connection on the command line, but you can actually just select it in the network section in Virt Manager. So let me just get some more tea. And what we can do here is just test if libvirt is working properly. Test is if the daemon can connect properly on a system level. We run virsh-c qem:/system. Welcome to virsh. That's working. See, we had the virsh prompt there. So basically means you don't have to run virsh as root. You can just run it just like you can just type virsh, but that's just to test that it's working, and that's what the prompt's going to look like. Okay. So that was the bit of code that I just ran virsh-c qem session. Was it? No, it was system, wasn't it? Okay, so that's again, that's the virsh prompt there. So that's basically showing that it's working without having to use sudo. Okay, so the next step is what we're going to do is actually create a storage pool for the ISOs and the hard drives that we're going to create with virsh in our home directory, because by default, I think it's some strange file path like var libvirt or something, where you have to store all your images, all your ISOs and your hard drives. And the issue with that is you have to move stuff using sudo all the time, and it's a real pain. So what we're going to do is actually create a directory for the libvirt storage pool, and we do that simply by running this command. So make directory -p // libvirt images, and here's one I've already made before. So I've already created that directory, libvirt images. As you can see, that's where the Windows ISO and the hard drive are stored. So after you created the directory, what we need to do is actually change the permissions on that directory so that the KVM user has access to it. And in this section here, you need to replace username with your username. So what we do is we run sudo chown r for recursive, then your username, KVM, home, your username, and libvirt. So that's going to be this directory here. You can see my username and then KVM. And so that's needed so that the KVM has access to this directory that we're going to create. Right. The next step after that is we want to fix the home directory file permissions. So that what we're going to do is we run chmod other +x tilde, and that's going to allow other groups like KVM access to the home directory, so that it can find that storage pool. So once we've changed the permissions there, what we're going to do is we list the pool. So I don't actually need sudo here. So if I run virsh pool-list-all, these are the pools that are created. And basically what I'm going to do is, you're doing this on a fresh setup, we're going to be nuking the existing pool. So if you've got an existing pool, you might not want to do this. Don't want to destroy your existing setup. But what we do is we run virsh pool-destroy default. So we get rid of the default pool, which, as I said, I think the location is something strange like var libvirt images or something like that. So the first step, so we don't need the sudo, we just need virsh pool-destroy default, and that's going to destroy the default pool. And then after that, we run virsh pool-undefined default, and basically that removes the default pool from the system. It basically, so it doesn't need to know about it anymore. It just gets rid of it. So we can set a new default pool. So after we've done that, we need to create the new pool. And what you're going to do is replace your username, username with your username in the code below. And again, we don't need the sudo. It's just I'll fix that later. Just my notes as I was going along. So what we do is we run virsh pool-define as base --name default --type dir for directory, and you can see here it's just this is split onto a separate line. This would all be on one line. --target, and then the path to the libvirt images directory. So that's libvirt images. So that's the libvirt images directory in my home. So we create the new pool on the directories we created. After we create the pool, we're going to start it. Again, we don't need the sudo. We can just do virsh pool-start default. Okay, so that's virsh pool-start default to start the new pool. And after we've done that, what we're going to do is auto start the pool with virsh pool-auto start default. That's going to auto start the pool. And now this next section here is basically just a recap of the some of the commands that I used here with virsh stopping the pool and everything. So it's just a note of some of the commands that we use there. So what we're going to do here is move on to the section on Windows 11 install. Okay, so this is the next step. And what we need to do first of all is download the latest virt-win.iso file. And we're going to be downloading that from fedora.org, groups virt-win direct downloads archive -virt.io, and in there will be a list of releases. So what I'm going to do is just come across to the browser here. Okay, so latest virt.io, isn't it? Oh, let me just check which one it was. So direct downloads archive virt.io. Okay, archive virt.io. I'll provide links to this, and what you're going to need to do is scroll right down to the bottom here, and the last release, you don't want this last one, you can see it's 2015, so this is the latest released here, virt-io-win -0.1.208-1. So this is the release that I'm using. So basically you come in here, and what we need is let me just come back across to find the name, and we need the virt-win ISO here. So that's the file we need. virt-win ISO, this one here, you can see 531 megabytes. So you can either download that in the browser, or you can use a tool like wget, curl, or aria2c, which would be most efficient. It download from multiple connections at once. I did notice the Fedora people.org site was down the other day, and what happened was the ISO stopped downloading because the site had gone down. So hopefully the site won't go down for you, but just something to bear in mind. And so we download this file, and I'll provide links to everything under the video and in the documentation. So the next step is to say we download this file. So we're getting there. It takes a little while to go through all this. So the next step is we actually need to enable TPM on Ubuntu. So I'm running Ubuntu 20.04, and we're going to be using a package called swtpm. And if we come across to the wiki over here, what we'll see, if I scroll down, there are instructions to compile and install on Linux, and this is for Red Hat Fedora, on Seguin, on OpenBSD, on compile on OS X, and here's the section for Ubuntu. Now, this is how you can compile these tools on Ubuntu 21.04, but this won't work on Ubuntu 20.04 because some of these packages aren't in the repository. There's also a section here on how you can build a Debian package. Again, that's only for 21.04. So depending on what version of Ubuntu you're running, you're going to need to install these tools differently. So I'm going to be covering using the PPA, which is actually much easier than trying to compile it manually. But I have seen some people on Reddit having some issues. But if you're on 21.04, you can follow these instructions. But I'm on 20.04, so I'm going to be using the PPA. So basically, there's some articles here on GitLab's Done that, in addition to a good YouTube video I came across, which I'll show you in a bit, showed me how to get started and get all this working. So what we need to do is actually enable TPM and Secure boot to allow Windows 11 to install. So what we need to do is install this PPA. So what I'm going to do is actually come across back to Emacs here. So first of all, what we need to do is check the release we're on. So if we check the release, lsb-release, see I'm on 2004. Right. So what we need to do is add the repository to our etc apt sources list. So let me just show you that file. If I come down to the bottom, what you'll see here is this is the comment for swtpm-focal, and focal is the release that I'm on, and this is the path to the repository. This is the PPA. And again, I'll provide links to this code so that you can put it in properly. So this is the code deb trusted equals yes, PPA launchpad.net, Stefan Berger, swtpm-focal, and that's important. If you're on 2004, it has to be -focal, Ubuntu focal main. So what we do is we edit that file with our favorite text editor, with vi, sudo, nano, whatever it is. And then what we do is we add that line to the bottom of the file. Save the sources.list. Now the next step is important, and normally what you would do is you just run a sudo apt update. Don't do that yet, because you will get an error saying public key not found. So what we need to do is actually import and trust the key for that PPA so that the software can be installed correctly. So what we do is you run sudo apt-key adv --key server keyserver.ubuntu.com --recv-keys, and then this key here, and that is the key for Stefan Berger's PPA repository. So after we've done the step of adding the PPA to our sources list and then importing the key, we can then update the repository. So after we've done that, let me just close some of this. We can update the repository. So we'd run sudo apt update, and that's going to pull in the new changes from the repository we've added. Now, after we've done that, we can actually install the swtpm-tools, which are a virtual emulator for the TPM chip that was acquired by Windows 11. So we run sudo apt-get install swtpm-tools-y, and that's then going to install the tools. And we can then, after those have installed, what we do is you run swtpm --version, and you can see here TPM emulator version 0.61. Okay, so we know that's installed. Right, so as I said, there is a bit of setup to get this working. So now these are the steps for actually going through and creating the virtual machine. So what I'm going to do now is go through and actually install Windows and then install the drivers and all the bits that are needed. So right, the next step, again, let's come back to here, and what we're going to do is create the new virtual machine. So I said it takes a while to get to this stage, so that we've actually got Virt Manager installed, we've got the bridge set up, we've got the storage pool in our home directory, but that's going to make things easier later on. So first of all, local install media forward, and okay, so this is the default directory here. Let's see, yeah, so by default it has this sort of the MV RAM, I don't know, but var libvirt qem, that's the sort of weird path it's got for the default pool. So first of all, we're going to select the Windows 11 English _x64.iso, and might be an idea at this point to show you where you get the Windows ISO, because you know, some people want to Google stuff. So here we go. Okay, download Windows 11 Microsoft, and let me just okay, so here we go. Yeah, that's a bit better. So this is the section you want, download Windows 11 disk image, and I'll put a link to this, but as you can see, it's microsoft.com in-us software-download Windows 11. So you select Windows 11, and what you need to do is I think it will give you, what you have to do is select the product language, so English, and confirm, and you get the idea, and then download it. I'm sure you can click a few buttons, but that's where you get the ISO from. So let's skip back to here, and so what you see is automatically detect, and normally it will come up and say Windows 11, Windows 10 rather, it doesn't say Windows 11. So what I'm going to do here is I've got 16 gigs, so I'm going to give it 8196, and 4 CPUs. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to create a 50 gig hard drive, and what I'm going to call this is Windows -11 demo. Okay. And what we want to do here is click these. First of all, we want to click Customize Configuration before install. And what we want to do is click this little down arrow, going for network selection. You can see it's on Virtual Network Default NAT. Just click that, set it to Virtual Network BRO Bridge Network. Okay, we click Finish. Right, so this is the next step. So we've got the overview here, and what we want to do first of all is under the chipset, we want to set that to i440FX, and then set the firmware to UFI x86_64, and that's the ovmf_code.fd. So that's the one at the bottom of the list here. I know there's this one that says secure boot. I haven't tried that, but this is what I'm using here. And then we click apply. We need to click apply each time we change stuff. Okay, OS information. We've got the CPUs, and I think they did the. I'll come back to the settings. Let me just come back to the settings. Okay. Let me just go through the notes. Where was the CPUs? The CPU. Okay. So this is the CPU section. So under the topology, we select socket as 1 and core and thread as 2. So this is what I've just been using. So sockets 2, what was it? Down short-term memory. 1 socket and 2 for the other ones. So we do 1 socket, 2 for that, and 2 for that. So you also make sure that's up on 4. We've got 4 manually set CPU topology, 1 socket, 2 cores, 2 threads, and this is just from the article that I've been following along and that's actually worked. So we apply that, and we've got the memory. The other thing I should note is what you want to do is actually in the Virt Manager preferences, you want to go to Edit Preferences and click Enable XML Editing. Where's that gone? Is that just on? I mean, it's all gone behind now for some reason. There we go. Why are you doing this? Okay, so right, so we've got the memory there. We've got boot options. What we do is we come across to the SATA disk. So we've got the SATA disk here. And what we need to do is select advanced options and change the disk bus to virtio and click apply. Okay. And we've got SATA CD. That's the virtual disk. Now we want to come across to the NIC here. So this is the NIC. And what we're going to do is under device model, click that and select that to virtio and then click apply. Right, we're getting there. So after that, what we need to do, I think the next step is we need to add the hardware. Yeah. Okay, we need to change the boot order. Pretty easier if I just come across to the actual article here. So this is the article. Let me just put stuff blocked by default. Okay. So this is the article. So again, we're changing the SATA. I didn't follow this. I just left the graphics as they are as Spice. So I didn't follow this section. Change the NIC. And what we need to do is now add the hardware. So what we do is we come across here and sometimes Xmonad's a bit funny. Oh, okay, we've got it back. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come across and click Add Hardware. Okay, and it of course comes up under there. It's going to bring up this screen here, and what you're going to do is select Device Type, CD-ROM Device, and then you click this button here that says Manage, and we're going to select the virt-win 1.208.iso file that we downloaded from Fedora people, and I have put that in my libvirt images directory in my home folder, in that folder we created so that we can easily select it. So we select the virt-win .iso file, okay, and we click Finish. Now the next step is going to be creating the TPM. So if I just come across here, we actually need to change the boot order of this as well. So let me just show you the TPM first of all. So what we need to do is come across, click Add Hardware, come across to TPM, and the only thing you need to change here where it says Model, you need to change it to TIS. Change it from CRB to TIS, TIS. Okay, so let's select TPM, select the model, and change it from CRB to TIS. Click Finish. Okay, so we're getting there. So the next thing we needed to do was actually change the boot order. So we got two CD-ROMs. What we need to do is we need to select the right CD-ROM. We need to get it to boot off the WinVirtio ISO. So if we select this, we can see SATA CD 1 is the Windows installer, and SATA CD 2 is the virtio-win file. So come across to this, and what we need to do is select SATA CD-ROM 2 and do that and select apply. Okay, we're getting there. We've done the CPU configuration. We've enabled the TPM. We've enabled secure boot. When you install Virt Manager, it should automatically install OVMF for you. But if not, and you're having issues at that stage selecting the chipset, you may need to install that first. But as I showed you, we selected the chipset and set it to i440FX and set the firmware to ovmf_code.fd. So I think that's everything. So let me just go through and check we've got all this ready. We've got the overview here, and you can see we've got the XML tab here, so you can edit the XML. So first of all, in the overview, we set the chipset to i440FX and the firmware to ovmf_code.fd. On the CPUs, we got 4, and we select the topology to 1 socket, 2 cores, and 2 threads. Under the boot options, we've got the SATA CD-ROM 2, and then the virtio disk. And the virtio disk is what was originally the SATA disk, and we selected the disk bus and set it to virtio for better performance. And here you can see the 2 SATA CD-ROM drives. The first one is to the Windows 11 ISO, and then we've got the virtio-win. Then we've got the NIC, and we've got that set to the bridge, and the device model is virtio. And I've left the video as QXL. And the other thing that we did was we created the TPM and set it to TIS. So the next step is to begin installation. Okay, I had this before, and you may get this, so let's just force off. And have I just fucked it? Okay, demo, restart, open. I don't know, I had this before, and I can't remember what the issue was. So I had that issue before where it would come up with the prompt. So we got that set, we've got that set. It should go into the so let me just see what's going on here. If I've got any open windows there, no. And am I missing anything? It should come up with a prompt. Of course, you get through all that and it stops, doesn't bloody work. So what am I missing? That's there. Boot options, TPM. It should work, but of course, whenever you try and demo something, there's always going to be some glitch along the way. So let me press. I think you got to press like it was almost kicking in there. Normally it's you know, click OK, and it will. Where's my cursor gone now? Why is my cursor not moving? VM's bloody captured it. Okay. How do I get out of the flipping thing? Why is it not letting me get the bloody cursor out? Come on. You gotta laugh. Oh, crying out loud, man. Okay, I'm just gonna punch this machine in a minute. Why can I not get out the flipping? I don't remember what the key is to get out. Oh, God's sake. I have to Google what the key is to get out of the Virt Manager. Bear with me. I can't even pause the video because I can't. Virt Manager. Okay. Okay. Wait for the page to load up. Control left alt, is it? Control alt G. Ah, there we go. Sorry about that. So why is this not working? Okay. So let's try boot options. Let's try just applying it again. And should normally it's like you press return and it will kick in. It's not finding the thingy. Why is that? So we've got the overview there. We've got the TPM. Should kick into the bootloader, but the game start. See, I never use bootloaders or anything. So why is this not working after all that? Okay, so I think I had the boot order wrong. So I think the boot order is SATA CD-ROM 1 and then Virt disk 1. So let's try that again. So that should be the Windows installer first, and then disk, and that's the virtio-win virtio. So let's see if this works. Ah. No, fuck's sake. Right. Just try it again and press. I think you got to press return or something when it comes up. Okay. I'm just going to drop to that prompt again. Ah, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. But, you know, there's always going to be something that goes wrong in a demo. Right. So we get onto the Windows install screen. At last. Getting there. Right. So, next. Install now. Setup is starting. Okay. Activate Windows. I don't have a product key. And what we're going to do is select Windows 11 Pro and then go next. And I accept the license. Click next. And what we need to do, custom Windows install. And so what we need to do here, sorry, we couldn't find any drivers. To get a storage driver, click load driver. Click OK. Going to come up with this, and what we need to do, select this one here, the third from the bottom, win-10 vostr.inf. So this one, okay, that's win10. Select the one with win10 and click next. Don't worry, we're going to fix the screen size a little bit. Right, okay, so we're going to click next here, and it's going to go through the installer. So I said it is a bit of a process to get to this stage, but hey, you're getting something for free, so you've got to do a bit of donkey work. You know, and along the way, there's always going to be few things that crop up that get you sidetracked, and you got to fix. But it's a learning process. So I'm just going to randomly talk over this as it goes through, and there's some things we actually need to do after we've booted into Windows to actually fix the networking and fix the display, and also install the Spice downloads. I'm going to go through all those steps, and by the end of this process, you have a Windows 11 VM running on Ubuntu with a bridge network, with the storage pool in your home directory to make it easy to access all the files. And why is this lighter not working? Hippos aren't what they used to be. So this section doesn't actually take too long. You know, it's going to depend on your hardware, that sort of thing. Move my cursor over the restart now button in case I accidentally click it and, you know, nulls things up. Okay, we just don't press anything there, and we just leave it, and it's going to carry on booting. You can see the little circle of dots. So I'm just going to leave this running so you can actually see in real time how long this takes. Is going to go through this screen, and it's eventually going to land on the kind of getting started page. And once you're on that page, it's going to prompt you for loads of stuff, you know, like you want Microsoft to track you, yes or no. You want to be bombarded with stuff, yes or no, and you just click no to all the stuff and create an account. And then, as I say, we need to install some stuff on the Windows side to actually fix the network and the display and the Spice tools. Once we've done that, we can then move on to doing stuff like setting up choclately, which will allow us to install Windows applications easily, rather than having to go, and download them manually. As you can see, this does, a bit like Apple, just a moment, and it must have a different measurement of time in computer land. As we can see, we're getting to the startup screen here. So that didn't take too long. So what we do is we come across United Kingdom. Yes. Okay. I'm going to click yes for this. Do you want to add a second keyboard layout? No, we'll skip that. I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. Okay. Okay, so we're going to enter a username. Next, enter a password. Confirm the password. Next, now you've got to enter security questions. So I'm just going to make some up. What's your pet's first name? Fido. Security question number 2. Where's the city where you were born? Where should I have been born? Let's say Paris for a laugh. As you can tell by my French accent. Third, what's your name in the first school? Let's say I went to Eton at 5 because okay. And in this section, it's quite deceptive. The way they've sort of framed it is like, yes, there's only one thing, but what you need to do is go here and scroll down and then select no. So we're just going to select no for all these things. You can basically change it later on, but this is for locations. Find my device, scroll down, no, accept, food optional, and you need to scroll required only, no, thinking and typing, don't want this either, no, app IDs, no. Okay, it's getting there. Hi. Getting things ready for you. So this is going to take a few minutes. Don't turn your PC. So after this has got through this stage and we've logged in, what we need to do is install the drivers that are going to be on the C drive. So one of the SATA drives that's a CD-ROM drive that's connected, that contains all the drivers that will enable networking and the display. And we'll then reboot, and we'll then be able to go into the display section in the settings and set the display to 1920 by 1080. And then after that, we need to download the Spice tools, which is nothing to do with the Spice Girls. I don't think Jerry Howell's become a Windows programmer, though I may be wrong. They're all doing their own thing, but we need to download the Spice tools, and that's basically related to the Virt Manager and display, because it sort of uses something called Spice, which is it's like a remote desktop. Basically, it sort of starts the virtual machine and then sort of does a sort of connection. So okay, we're here. We've got Windows 11 up and running. So what we need to do, remember, is come into the File Explorer here. So the File Explorer, and you'll see this here, CD drive E. So we click this here. And what you want to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I think you need to check whether it should be x86. There's a way to check this. So let me just pause this a second to refresh my memory on next step is. Okay, so let me come back to the VM. So I need to go to the settings, and where's the about section? About. And if we come down here, we can see we're a 64-bit operating system. So what we need to do is select the E drive, scroll down, and select the virtio-win-gt-x86 file. Double click that. We're going to go through this wizard. So click next. I accept the license. Next. And then click next here, and that's going to install everything. And click install. And click yes. Okay, and it's going to say, do you want to install this software from Red Hat? Install Always Trust Red Hat. Yeah. Finish. And at this stage, I think we actually need to reboot. So I'll come here and go restart. A bit more tea. Never have enough tea. Has to be Yorkshire Gold though. Okay, so it's going to restart. Just ignore this. Going to boot into this little bit here, and then it's going to boot into Windows. Okay, my password. And now, if I come to settings, and what we're looking for is display, and we should see. Why is it not doing that? Is there something I've missed? I think can't remember if you need to install the Spice tools before you can adjust the resolution. Let me just pause this a second and refresh my memory. Okay, so what we need to do, just rebooting there wasn't enough. We need to actually install the Spice tool. So let me just put this full screen. You can see it's come up like this. So what we're going to do is open Microsoft Edge, and it takes a second to go through this, and you can just skip signing and all that sort of stuff. It takes a second or two. Okay, complete setup. Just set focused. Continue without signing in. Accept. Okay, and what we want to do is Spice download. God's sake. Spice download. And you can see we've got working internet now. So we're going to come to this site here, spice-space.org download.html. Okay. And what we need to do is scroll down this section here, Windows binaries, Windows guest tools, Spice guest tools. So scroll down to Windows binaries, and under the section Windows guest tools, you want to click this link, Spice guest tools. Okay, you can see that's downloading. So basically we're going to wait for this download, then open the file manager, double click the file, run the installer, and then we'll reboot and it will fix the display. Okay, close that, and we'll open the file manager and we'll come to the downloads, and you can see here we've got the Spice guest tool. So just double click that and we're just going to run the installer. Yes, and this is safe to use. Next, I agree. And again, it's going to prompt you, may prompt you to trust stuff from Red Hat. Click install. This file up here. It takes a few seconds to finish. And then after it's done that, what we're going to do is restart, and we'll then go to our display settings and we'll be able to change the display to 1920 by 1080. Okay. So it takes a couple of minutes to install, and then just as I said, that's finished. And so what we'll do is we'll come across here and go to restart. As you can see, we've already got networking working perfectly with the bridged adapter, super fast, nice performance. They just restart. Take a minute. The screen goes a bit funny while it does this. Just ignore this. We'll carry on booting. Okay. And let's come across to the settings. Display, and hopefully you can see this display is now unlocked. And you can go all the way up to 2560. We want 1920 by 1080. Keep the changes. And look at that. Look at that. Windows 11, full screen, bridged adapter, nice and smooth. So what we want to do next is actually install choclately. So what I'm going to do is open Microsoft Edge, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across to and come across to the README for the video. LLL, you can see how much stuff I've got in my repository here. These are all tips on loads of tips, Linux and Mac sort of stuff, and Windows. So we'll come across here, and what we need to do is come across down to the bottom, and we're going to be setting up choclately. So we've gone through all this stuff to actually get to this stage, and choclately. So what we're going to do is open the PowerShell. So we want to open the PowerShell as admin. So PowerShell, and what you want to do is come across and click this here, run as administrator. Yes. Okay, so what we want to do is first of all find the execution policy status of PowerShell. And we do that by running get dash execution capital P policy restricted. And so what we need to do is change this to set execution policy all signed. So I don't know how you increase the font size on the Windows PowerShell, I'm afraid. So we're going to do set, I'll type this in, but I'll paste the next one in. Set execution policy all capital S signed, correct, and basically select I do A for all, okay, and what we need to do now is actually paste this command in. So see if I can get copy and paste working. We think it should be, there we go, just right click and it pastes that in, and this is needed to actually get choclately installed. And as a choclately is much like Homebrew on the Mac. Basically it's sort of like a package manager for Windows, and it will basically allow you to install lots of stuff you normally go and download, like Firefox, Chrome, as well as programs like yt-dlp, which is the YouTube DL fork. So we've got choclately installed now. So what we want to do is actually install Firefox. So let's run, I don't know how you clear the screen on here. So Control L? No? Yeah, there we go. Okay, Choco, search Firefox. So that's how you search for stuff. Choco search Firefox. I know it's called Firefox, but I'm just showing you how to search. And we can see here Firefox is the top link, or you've got Firefox ESR if you prefer that. So we're going to run Choco install Firefox. And basically it's going to say, do you want to run this script? And you just do A for all. And you can see here it's downloading Firefox. This is a much more convenient way to install software on Windows, at least if you're coming from Linux and you're used to like a package manager, because downloading exes from the web just feels a bit, I don't know. But you can see here it's coming down pretty quick. You can see the download speed we're getting there. Basically it's going to install Firefox for us, and we can open it and set it as the default browser, and then I'll show you installing yt-dlp as well, get you off to a good start on Windows. Okay, and then once I've opened up Firefox, again I'll show you it playing full screen video. And you can see what the performance is like. It's going to play, I think it's 720p. So leave it on this page. You may be tempted to close this tab, but this is going to give you some stuff to like pin it to the taskbar and stuff like that. This tab, no, it's this. Oh yeah, pin to taskbar. There we go. And also set as your default browser. Make default browser. Not now. Don't import bookmark. Dark theme. Save theme. And then what you want to do, let's clean up Firefox a bit. Come up here and untick these and uncheck those and close that. Let's just say I never use the bookmarks bar, so let's hide the bookmarks bar. And let's come through and go through the sort of settings, just set some stuff up. Okay, so that's it's going to play DRM stuff. you want to uncheck these recommended extensions as you browse and recommend features as you browse. We'll come across to home, set these to blank. So when it opens a new tab, it's just a blank tab. Search, you will search privacy and security. You want to set that to strict. And what you can also do is install the Firefox multi-container add-on thing. Do not track, delete cookies, and there were save parts, do any of that stuff. What I do is I always use a custom setting for history. Uncheck these and clear history when Firefox closes. This is just so we can make it more secure. The other thing is in the address bar, when you search for stuff, you see you may get sometimes you get this thing Firefox suggests, and that's activated when all these are checked. Let's see if it will do it. Firefox. Yeah, it's not showing it up, but sometimes you get these things like Firefox suggests. So you can uncheck all of these, and that will disable that. You've got permissions here. Firefox data usage. Uncheck all of these. This basically uses the Google to see if sites are deceptive or anything. You probably want to leave that on because it's going to tell you if a site's malicious or anything. But it does send information to Google to check what links you're using. So trade off if you want to use that. You can enable HTTPS mode in all windows instead of using HTTPS everywhere. It will throw up a sort of prompt saying a window saying go to just HTTP site. So that's Firefox, and let's go to the add-ons and just install some add-ons. uBlock or Origin. So this is just like getting some stuff set up on Firefox, make it a bit more usable. And also don't track me Google. That basically removes the sort of redirect links from Google search results, because it doesn't give you just like the actual URL, it'll give you a redirect. This removes it. So there's those are just a couple of add-ons I like to install, and also you can come across here and click customized toolbar, remove these, remove the pocket, remove that. That just cleans it up a bit. So that's sort of Firefox a bit cleaner. So what I'll do is then I show you installing yt-dlp. So I'll show you installing yt-dlp, the YouTube DL fork that's more up to date, and then I'll show you a video playing in Firefox full screen, and so you can see the video and everything, just like I did at the beginning of the video an hour or so ago. So Choco, this is a Windows PowerShell as admin here. So Choco search yt-dlp. Forget. Yeah, okay, there it is, yt-dlp. So we want to install that. Choco install yt-dlp. And again, what you want to do is select A for all when it prompts you. So it's just downloading the package here, and this is so much easier to set stuff up on Windows rather than manually downloading an exe, creating a folder in your C drive and then adding it to your system path. So here, this is where we select all. Okay, and it's going to sort of download some stuff. I just need to sort of download a few little things to get choclately working and install yt-dlp. Okay, installed. Okay, so we can close that, and what we can do is just open a regular terminal now instead of, we don't need a PowerShell terminal. So we should have the Windows Terminal app, which is actually quite nice. It's got this drop down, and you can actually select different prompts down here, and got the settings. I think you need some. Basically, it uses a JSON file to configure it. So you can do loads of really cool stuff with it. But this is just going to be to show you that yt-dlp is installed and will work in the Windows terminal. So if I just type yt-dlp-h and give it a second, it should have spit out the help. So you can see there all the help for yt-dlp. So that's installed and working. And again, we can come across here, and we can do like pin to taskbar here. So you can have the Windows terminal there. So what I'll do now is I'll come across to YouTube and open a video up and play it full screen, so you can see that it's exactly like the video I demoed at the beginning of the video. So I'll come across back to the Magpie channel. Ooh, Paulo Fonseca and Virgin becoming new manager. Well, I was hoping from the guy from Ajax, but here we go. Right, so I'll pause that. Big Renty. Put that full screen. Play that, and you can see what the performance is like running on Windows 11 in a VM. And let's see what the settings are. This is 1080p, so it's playing at 1080p. So let's give this a go and see how it performs.
Have Newcastle United's new owners finally found their man?
So there's the intro. Playing smoothly.
Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the...
Okay, so two things. Paulo Fonseca's on the verge of becoming new Newcastle manager. I have to watch that video in a second. And you can see what the performance is like actually playing a video. Okay, here's DistroTube. So let's put this full screen, play the video. See the nice transition there. And this is just using the QMX, was it the QXL setting? So let's play this.
One of the most important pieces of having a beautiful desktop is having a beautiful color scheme. I'm talking about the color scheme for your terminal emulators and your text editor.
Pause that. Let's see what the settings were here. So that was on 480. Can we do 720?
Today, I want to share with you my top 9 color schemes for your terminal emulators and your text
Pretty
editors.
good.
So let me...
Okay. And then what's the next step up? 1080 60p. Okay.
Switch over to my desktop, and for this example today, I'm going to open up a terminal emulator and a text editor, and I'm just...
That's like native. That you know, this isn't got a GPU pass through or anything like that. This is running on a Dell XPS 15 with 16 gigs of RAM. Got an NVIDIA card which I'm using with OBS to record. I've got 8 gig of RAM dedicated to the Windows VM there, and you know, you could see it was playing a 1080p 60 FPS video flawlessly. And you can see how sort of, you know, nippy this is. This is how quick this is. So let's come across to BBC. See how quickly this loads up. Okay. You can see how fast this is, and this is why I'm using the bridge network. It also will allow us to actually dial into the machine rather than it all being natted and stuff. But again, using the bridge network, I think you can only bridge an Ethernet connection, not a Wi-Fi connection. So, you know, you would need to be plugged in with Ethernet, but you can always change the VM to use a NAT connection. You can shut the VM down, you know, change the network configuration to NAT, and then that would use Wi-Fi. So again, this is nippy. Yeah, that's fast. So you can see the window snapping. Full screen. How do I do it? Off full screen. Yeah. So everything's nice and snappy. And you don't seem to be able to move some of these things like the chat and Microsoft Edge. Some of these things will let you unpin them, but not these ones. And so this is Windows 11 Pro. No product key or anything like that. And you can see 19 you know, full HD, 1920 1080, perfect performance on YouTube, 1080p 60 FPS with audio coming through as well. Yeah, it's just like running on hardware. So I'll put links to everything under the video and all the steps because there are a few to get to this stage. But as you can see, I think it's worth it. But one thing I have to mention is if you try and install the Windows subsystem for Linux, it will corrupt the virtual machine. I've tried it twice and it's happened both times. The way you install the Windows subsystem for Linux is by opening the PowerShell as the admin and running WSL -- install. So if I was to come across and go PowerShell, I'm not actually going to do it. I'm actually going to run it. I'm just going to show you how you would do it. WSL -- install. And what happens is it then basically starts to enable the Windows subsystem for Linux, and then it will download Ubuntu. And the first time I did it, the download for Ubuntu just froze for hours. It didn't do anything. So I rebooted the VM, and basically it gave me an error message saying, you know, there's a problem. Do you want to fix it? You know, on the Windows side, it's like, you know, there's a problem. You know, do you want to shut down? Do you want to click fix? You know, fix this, or a couple of other buttons, but none of them did anything. Second time I tried it, it downloaded Ubuntu, and then I rebooted, and I had the same issue. So the problem is that the Windows subsystem for Linux basically creates a virtual machine and then sort of RDPs into it, you know, like creates a, you know, a VNC type thing. So it's an issue of we're running Windows in a VM and then trying to run Linux in a VM inside Windows with RDP or VNC. Seems to be basically makes it not work. There may be some setting that gets around this, or the other thing I was thinking is maybe it's because we're using a qemu hard drive, which is an expandable hard drive, like a sparse image for the virtual machine hard drive, and I'm not sure if Windows Subsystem for Linux also uses a sparse image, and if maybe that's causing a conflict or something. But basically, I've tried twice to install the Windows Subsystem for Linux, and what I would recommend if if you absolutely really want to try it, let me just come out here and pause this for a second. Come back to this screen here. What you can do is actually clone an existing machine. So we've got this one here. This is the Windows 11 demo. And what you can do is right click and go clone. And basically the name, it will create a new qemu hard drive. So it will clone, it will use the exact same setup, but it will just clone the hard drive. So you can make a clone and try and install WSL or fix it in there. But then you've always got this one here because to go back to, because what I did first time was I got everything working perfect, like I've just shown you. Tried to install WSL for Linux and it crashed it. So I had to do the entire thing from scratch. So I've learned my lesson. So if you want to play around, make a clone. Because what I've found interestingly is that, at least on my setup, for some reason snapshots don't seem to work. And I'm using SSD, and I'm not sure if that was the issue. But let me come back here. Resize to VM. That's go full screen. We need to unpause it or go full screen. So there, yeah, Windows 11 with TPM, secure boot, bridge network, storage pool for all the ISOs and everything in your home directory, sound, everything's working. It's just the only thing is the WSL, as I said, which is a shame because that was kind of one of the things I really wanted to try, getting sort of scripts to run on Windows that I've written on Linux using WSL. So if anyone has any luck getting WSL working in the virtual machine, and actually what the issue is or the fix is, leave a comment. But it takes a while to get this working. Been doing this for about an hour and a half now, from start to finish. But you can see, everything's nice and nippy. So of course, Paint, open that. Look how quick that opened. That's ridiculous. So calendar. Okay, let's sign into that. What about calculator? Okay, all apps. Okay, you can see all the apps here. It's sort of got installed. Do Paint. That snipping tool. Okay, who's moving. You can see everything's really nice and nippy. File Explorer. So everything's, no lag. Everything's, pretty much near native. So yeah, that's really great. And so the only thing that's bugging me is the Windows subsystem for Linux, but everything else is absolutely perfect. Not that I'm a Windows user, but sometimes you want to find stuff on Windows, or get people to do stuff. People use Windows, and you want to do something that you do on Linux on Windows, like use yt-dlp to download videos or what have you. So that's everything you need to basically go through to get this working, and get a really good VM. but it's going to depend on your hardware. So I've got 8 gigs of RAM on here, and I've allocated was it 4 cores out of 12. You know, and it's super nippy. You know, Firefox opens up, you know, nice and sharp. What I call live. So this is going to come up with the prompt here. But I just want to see how quickly it loads pages. So NFUC. Okay. Goes. So you can see everything's loaded up nice and quick. Sunderland. Oh no. So you can see everything's really nippy. You can also do stuff like if you want to install VLC, for instance. I should pin a PowerShell as admin to the bottom there, but we can use Choco. VLC is another program you might want. So Choco install VLC. You can also install stuff like GIMP, OBS Studio, loads of other stuff using choclately. So it's just going to download VLC. So this is just basically just to show you getting sort of some stuff sort of set up. Windows. I don't know if you can change the. You can actually personalize stuff here. If it will let you personalize. And I change the theme because, like on Windows 10, it wouldn't. You need to activate your. Okay, see. So that's some of the drawbacks. If you don't have a product key or, you know, a license or whatever, you can't personalize it. But really, it's only a few things like changing the wallpaper, and you know, you could really live with it. They used to have a thing on Windows 10 like activate Windows Now that would come up. They have like loads of fixes to try and stop that, but I haven't seen that anything like that come up as yet. Just click all A for all. Okay, VLC. Continue. Got VLC there. So you can do stuff like let's just another test. Let's open up YouTube again and actually grab a link and try and play it with VLC. Come across to YouTube again and well, you know what? YouTube a bit funny about that sort of thing, so maybe I won't. But you can take a link from YouTube and play it with VLC. But let's try archive.org. Night of the Living Dead. And what I'm going to do is just grab, they have links to the MP4s and stuff. So I'll copy that link, come into, was it VLC, Open Network Stream, paste. And this is a video that's, you know, in the public domain. It may take a second or two just to open the link from archive.org, just to buffer it up. There we go. So let's see if that's I'll leave it just a second to see if it buffers up, but you can see it's obviously a lower quality video from, you know, the 60s, but you can see that's playing full screen. You can see that's nice and nippy. You can see, you know, I can play that in the browser. So the performance is really, really good. It's sort of near native, and I say if you had an external GPU, you could pass that through to this. But that's Windows 11 set up on Ubuntu 2004 with TPM, secure boot, bridge networking, as I said, setting up choclately. You know, everything works perfectly, and if you was to see this, you wouldn't know that that was a VM at all until you went like that. So what I'll do is I'll just pause this and let's have a look at the the overview again here, and what you can, if I come back to this one, in Virt Manager, what you can do is go preferences, enable XML editing, and when you do that after you've installed a VM, you'll see details in the XML, and you'll have all the XML for the actual virtual machine, and I think you can sort of reuse this XML to recreate them. So it's good to sort of be able to, you know, back this up, and you can just recreate stuff. But let's have a quick overview of the setup. In the chipset, in the overview, remember it's i444 OFX and the ovmf_code.fd. So that's for the secure boot, those two. Okay, with the CPU, what we did, we got 4 CPUs, and what we did was we set the topology manually, 1 socket, 2 cores, and 2 threads, which was what I got from that article. The memory, I've got 8 gig. The boot options, as you saw in the video, I got my arse about elbow a bit, and the correct order for the boot options is the SATA CD-ROM 1, and then the virtio disk, and come to the virtio disk. When you set it up, that's the SATA disk, and what we did was we came across to disk bus and set that to virtio. You can see SATA CD-ROM 1 is the Windows installer, and the second one is the virtio-win ISO that we downloaded from Fedora people, and we created that by going to add hardware and creating a new CD drive and putting in that path. And now in the NIC, we've got the network source set to the virtual network BRO bridge network that we created, and we select the device model to virtio. Okay. We didn't change any of these things down here. We left the video at QXL, which was great. It was playing 1080p 60 FPS without any stuttering. And the final thing that we had to do was add the TPM, and that is set to TIS. And the way we did that was we did add hardware, came to TPM, set the model to TIS, and we did finish. And remember, you have to have the swtpm binary installed for this to work. And again, on Ubuntu 2004, the way we did that was using the PPA. But if you're on a later version, I guess you could still use the PPA, but you may need to change the link because it's pointing to focal, which is 2004, or you can manually compile it. But that's how we set the TPM up. Those are all the settings for the VP for the KVM, and basically once we've done that, we had to as I say, we went through all the steps outlined in that document, and the things we had to do is we had to load the drivers during the install, select the Win driver. We we also had to, after we basically come back to full screen, what we had to do was, did I unpause that? No. Okay. Full screen. So remember, when we first booted up into Windows, after we got it installed and everything, the first thing we had to do was come to this etcd5e, and what we did was we selected the virt-win-gt-x86 executable, and we ran that, and that fixed the networking, and that installed some stuff for the display. But after we'd done that, what we needed to do was we had to download the Spice Guest tools. Then what we did was we double-clicked that, ran that, then we rebooted, and after we rebooted, we came into the settings, and we went to the display, and after we'd installed those two things, we could then change the display resolution, and I say that will go all the way up to 2560 times 40, but we just gone for 1920 1080. So that's how we set the display, and got everything looking, just as it would on a real physical machine. Basically went through and installed some packages using choclately, got some, make things a bit easier for us to get a nice working environment. And this is the end result. So macOS Monterey is also out today, so we're going to have a look at if it's possible to get that working in a VM as well. But that's the whole setup for Windows 11 on Ubuntu, and I'll leave links to everything under the video.